But I must also tell you that I need to send my deepest condolences to those that have lost their life. Yeah, so there are people that actually got involved in a terrible accident this morning that is around Zvaraseko and Harare. And I must say, disturbing scenes. But one question that is flying around social media is, where are the air ambulances that is ZANU-PF promised? But again, we are dealing with a very, very evil, lying regime. There is no truth in these guys. And I must tell you that I'm extremely disappointed with what's happening with Mnangagwa's work. All right, so guys, you've seen what's going on currently. I must tell you that, Mnangagwa is crushing, day in, day out, he's crushing. Why I'm saying that? Because the last time I checked, we were having Mawindi for ED. But all of a sudden, we are having Mawindi for Chiwenga. Yeah, it's unbelievable. From Mawindi for ED to Mawindi for Chiwenga. If you can see what's going on across social media, you can see that most of these texts actually have Chiwenga's pictures there. And they are saying that, no, this man is the one that's going to be reigning, a leader in the country. And I want to hear what you guys think. I don't know if you have access to those pictures, but they are flying across social media. Before we get into most of these details, and I must also tell you that Mnangagwa has been robbed in the mysterious death of a chief. If you hear the nitty-gritties, disturbing reporting there. And I must say, I don't know what else to say about Mnangagwa's family, but I think for now we need to look at his legacy. Quite a shameful legacy in the end. Shameful legacy, I must say. But I'm not also surprised, because when you are planting seeds of evil, you can't escape. You can't escape such kind of a terrible end. But anyway, before we get in, I just want to ask you, if it's your first time to come across this channel, please do yourself a favor and subscribe. Make sure that you ring the bell, so that at least every time I'm live, or you'll be robbed right here to have a conversation with me. But I want to say to my regulars who are just joining us now, I can see we're almost more than 100 people. As soon as I press the button, please like the live, push algorithm, inviting everyone to the conversation. We are heading towards a very sensitive time, and we can't afford not to say a word. It's time for us to converse thoroughly, vigorously, in order for us to be able to build a Zimbabwe that is good for everybody. I must tell you. Okay, so subscribe and make sure you ring the bell. And my regulars, I want to say some shout out and say, please like the live push algorithm. Do it right now before we proceed. All right, guys, like I mentioned, I think Shavangu's move was the worst that ever happened in history. And this is one of the reasons why Mnangagwa is going down. It's going down in the most embarrassing, shameless way ever in the history of politics. I must tell you that even his friend Masisi in Botswana, he's losing the election deeply. And trust me, his empire is falling down. It's collapsing. This is why last year, when people were desperate to hear what Sadak could say about the shame election that we heard, I told most of the guys, I said, relax and chill. Chill, just chill. Let's see what's going to be happening, because as far as I know, when you sow evil, you can't escape the wrath of God. You can't escape. It may take longer, but one thing I'll tell you is that God is always going to show up, and he shows off to defend his name. All right, so yeah. If this was an election time, I would blatantly say Chiwenga is winning. I would say Chiwenga is winning, because the way Texas, I have not posted Chiwenga's name or picture there across the country. But I must also tell you that it's quite very tricky, though, because I know for all these political players, because I'm not one, but political players, which include Chamisa himself, he should say, ZANU-PF is trying to resuscitate the party. So one of the things that they did is using Chiwenga's name to at least be able to say, hey, we're still here. We hate what Mnangagwa was doing, or the corruption, we're not part of it, but we want you at least in 2020 to try to vote for us. They are trying to resuscitate the entire empire that has crumbled down because of the regime, or the so-called Second Republic that fell dismally. Chiwenga is all over the place in the country. I'm sure they are flooding their monies there to make sure that he can be at least a representation again, also trying to rope in the army, the army who also is going to be the trademark in the Zimbabwean body politic. We are watching, we are following very closely to see what's happening. Interesting. Again, where we are there, I must tell you the issue of the army and army generals. Again, a mystery of army generals' death depends. And people asking questions, why the army generals are going? Because yesterday, another one cheated death. He's in a critical condition. From what I heard, he's actually in the ICU because of these political, moves that are going on within the ZANU-PF, space. It's very sad. Why eliminating the generals? The moment you speak against the current regime, you are a target. You are a target. They're not going to be like Rumbio who says, I can still move, but the enemy won't see me. The devil knows that. Yeah, ne? The devil knows that wherever I place my feet, I take command. I control territories. I have the power to do so. All right. Guys, I must tell you that Mnangagwa is no longer hiding his feelings. He is no longer hiding his feelings. I know some of you ask me, why are you saying so? Because the pictures that we saw yesterday, okay, the pictures we saw yesterday when they met with their, agent meeting, which later on we saw reports that they were simply trying to endorse, as someone, with hero status who had passed away. Again, I know that everything is just not true. I know it's not true. The fact remains there is a lot going on within the camp, and they're trying to curb this entire thing. Because what Zivu posted though today, I saw Zivu's tweet. Zivu was trying to say, yo, things are not okay. That's why Mnangagwa had to rope in and to remind people that I'm the leader here. Like I said, because it's like Chiwenga is now louder in Zimbabwe more than Mnangagwa. So Mnangagwa said he called these people and said, hey, I need to remind you, I'm still the president of this country and the leader of ZANU-PF. So this Chiwenga move that you are making, it's your thing, but I want to remind you that I'm still the leader. So that's what's going on right now in ZANU-PF. And ZANU-PF, I must tell you that Mnangagwa is surrounded. A lot of things are not really looking good for him. They're not looking good at all. But there was an interview that Tendebiti heard with, that was with a Citizen a Voice Network, if I'm not mistaken. Again, the journalist there, I must say, I don't know his name, but I think he's an incredible journalist. I did even also like the interview that he did with Muchangwa. That interview, Tendebiti said a lot. Mnangagwa's sons are dangerous. They are dangerous. And I think I've told you before that when I look at Mnangagwa and his age, I must bet you beyond reasonable doubt that his sons are in control. They are moving. They're in control. We can see them. But for that reason, I'm also still worried as well. And I'll tell you why I'm worried. I'm worried because there's something that people are not watching. As much as there's all these talks about Chiwenga, you must never forget Chiwenga's got kids that are growing. Okay? And again, when I look at Chiwenga's move, I'm like, I'm not going to be in a situation where Mugabe and Grace, because there seems to be the very same games that are playing, where someone is in control deeply, you know what I mean? The games. And I'm telling you, women are powerful. For your own information, women are powerful. And for those that can understand my language, know what I'm talking about, that we don't want to go back there because it's possible. Yes, got children that are growing, that who also want to have the cake of Zimbabwe like they've always been doing. It's all a game. But I'm not interested in games. I'm interested in the leaders that will take this country forward. That's why I'm always, standing firmly and adamantly to speak and say we need to take Zimbabwe back to its basics. A country that functions, with the leaders that have the tools and the qualities to make sure that at least we compete again. We become, not only becoming the breadbasket of Africa, but becomes the breadbasket of the world, because we have what it takes, all the minerals to stand and fight and also compete within the marketplace. So I am desperate to see leaders that have what it takes. Not all these shenanigans. I have no time. But now we're going to be listening to Tendebiti. And we will listen to what he says. Again, referring to President Emmerson Mnangagwa's third-term ambitions. But I love the fact that he still again mentioned that the people that are very much dangerous are Mnangagwa's children, and they are also their criminal cartel that they're working with. The likes Vanachi Vayo and Vanat Puratagwire. There's a number of people that are always being dragged into the entire saga. These people are the most dangerous that we need to be worried about. Him, Mnangagwa, and other, but not even the problem. We need to focus on the criminal cartel. They are the ones that are trying to protect their loot, what they've been stealing, and are still not only protect what they've stolen, but also still with impunity. And that's what we need to discuss now. So let's listen to Tendebiti again addressing the issue of Mnangagwa and the criminal cartel. Take a listen, please.
What do you make of the current succession issues, to be precise, within ZANU-PF? Because we know for a fact that the Constitution says one cannot be a president for more than 2 terms, and that ideally means that President Emmerson Mnangagwa cannot constitutionally return post-2028 unless there is an amendment. What do you make of this? And we have succession politics right now.
The attempt to force a 3rd term for Emmerson Mnangagwa and the inevitable constitutional amendments that will be required, the inevitable referendums that will be required for Emmerson to achieve his aim is an agenda, is a program that is now constituting the biggest existential threat to Zimbabwe since independence. It is a disastrous agenda that has the potential of leading this country into a civil war. It is a disastrous agenda that has got the potential of leading this country into another coup. But this time around, it will not be the seamless coup of November 2017. This time around, it will be Armageddon. It will be a bloodshed. So those people, including Emmerson, that are pushing this agenda, that are driving this ambitious, ill-advised, ill-thought program, should stop it. And stop it immediately, because it will shake Zimbabwe. It will cause an unnecessary assault on the body politic and the integrity of Zimbabwe as a nation state. I ask Mr. Mnangagwa, what else do you want to do which you would have failed to do in 10 years? 10 years is a long time. And remember, you were in government since 1980. So you've been in government for 44 years. So if you couldn't have done anything in 44 years, and in the 10 years where you're at the helm, you will never be able to do anything else. This agenda must be stopped. Zimbabwe is already fragile. Zimbabwe is already vulnerable. Without the self-induced disaster of a poisonous, toxic agenda of a 3rd term.
But Wabiti, we have heard the president, I think, more than once. No, I'm a constitutionalist. When my term comes to an end, surely I will follow the constitution. He said so more than twice. Said so in Mutare, said so at ZANU-PF, said it at some event somewhere else, that he is a constitutionalist. Why are people not believing you?
Because he is not genuine. He is the most powerful man in the country. He is the commander of the defense forces. He controls the security agents. So if he genuinely was against this ill-thought agenda, those of his disciples who are singing this tune would stop and stop immediately. But they do it. His close confidants, the likes of July Moyo, the likes of Owen Mutanguve, they are the ones running with this agenda. His closest colleagues, the Daniel Garwes of this world, the foolish Machakaires of this world, they are running with these agendas. I've seen him at a function, he himself, where he asked every minister to stand and do that slogan. He himself. So he is playing.
I thought it was just a vision, not really to say he wants to be.
it's not a vision. The man suffers from an insatiable, unquenchable thirst for power. If Mugabe had 38 years, he also wants his 38 years. And the most dangerous people are not even him, are people in his courtyard, his children, their children's friends, people who are looting this country and who know that the precondition for them looting is only if Emerson is sitting on the crown. The people in the courtyard, and those are the dangerous ones, they must stop this agenda and allow the Zimbabwean constitution to have integrity, to be respected. Mr. Mnangagwa has assaulted the constitution in two major constitutional amendments. Constitutional Amendment number 1 of 2017 and Constitutional Amendment number 2 of 2020. The attempt to amend section 287, 288, 289, the provision that protects and limit the terms of office, will be the most dangerous constitutional attack that we have been carried in this country since independence.
Right.
Unfortunately, it is an attack on the majority of Zimbabweans. We have a vested interest in making sure that leaders come, leaders go, leaders come, leaders go. The biggest thing that we achieved during the constitutional making process was to deal with the idea of an imperial permanent president in the form of Robert Mugabe. So the people of Zimbabwe don't want another Mugabe. That's why they put that provision that says you can only do for 2 terms if we want you. Vana havasikuda nemuzano macho imomo vana havasikuda zvinoita madictator ava manjala publicly vana Museveni vese vakaita ma2 terms vana Siad Barre weku Somalia, vana Hofet Bwinyi weku Cote d'Ivoire, vana Blaise Kambore weku Burkina Faso, vana Abdullahi Wade weku Senegal. Tsika yavanoita vanoti ina handisi kudaba, vanhu ndo vari kuda, asi vanhu vacho vari iye, vanhu vachitorohwa nekupiwa mari nekupindikidza kuti vati 2 terms. Mukatarisa zvimaposta zvezviri kusimudzwa kuti id chakuti zvimasongo zviri kutogadzirwa, kunotono office kuma-CIO iri kutogadzira zvimaplakadzi zvezvi. The people of Zimbabwe were abused by Robert Mugabe. The people of Zimbabwe were abused by a president who couldn't even go to the bathroom. He needed help because he was too old. So we said no to the Robert Mugabe agenda. We can't allow a throne called Emerson Mnangagwa to step into the shoes of the baobab called.
If you go to parliament, right now, there is ZANU-PF has got 2/3 majority.
If you have a secret ballot in parliament, Emerson will not get a 2/3 majority. If you have a secret ballot, that I can assure you. That I can assure. People of Zimbabwe don't want this. I speak to ZANU-PF people. I speak to members of the security forces. I am a member of a church that I'm proud of. I speak to Zimbabweans. I've never come across a Zimbabwean who says yes to the idea of emasculating the constitution in favor of a 3rd term. Show me one. I'll change my name to John Dotito. Just one.
But what you are saying is one of the persons who has done so much work now, and they would want him to...
What work? What work? As I'm talking to you right now, we've got the highest inflation in the world. As I'm talking to you right now, we've got the worst currency in the world. As I'm talking to you right now, 79% of Zimbabweans are living in extreme poverty, surviving on less than $1.20 a day. As I'm speaking to you right now, official unemployment is 95%. The majority of our people are in the informal sector. So what has he done?
So what should be done anyway? Maybe to prevent
Four things.
chaos.
Four things. Four things. Mr. Mnangagwa must go to Parliament and unequivocally announce that he will respect the Constitution. He has got powers under the Presidential Powers Temporal Measures Act. He can create an offense of saying anyone who says he wants me to be third term is an offense. He can do that. I challenge him to do that. But he must be clear and unequivocal that the Constitution will be protected, the Constitution will be respected. That's number one. Number two, let us attend to electoral reforms, and let us attend to those things that SADC spoke about in their 2018 report. That 45 observer missions wrote about in their 2018 report. The European Unions, the Carter Center, SADC itself, the African Union, the Commonwealth, 45 observer missions. What are those things? A proper delimitation exercise. What are those things? Complete, this one was flawed. What are those things? The complete demilitarization of the Zimbabwean electoral field. What are those things? A free and genuinely open media landscape. What are those things? The complete de-weaponization of food and imports. What are those things? The proper security of the voter. What are those things? The proper security of the vote. What are those things? Open access to the server. What are those things? Live, real transmission of the results, particularly the presidential results. What are those things? Instant announcement of the results, the presidential results within 24 hours of voting. America is going to vote on the 5th of November 2024. I can assure you by the 6th of November, the whole world will be knowing the result. Yet 300 million people are voting. In Zimbabwe, less than 2 million people vote, but it takes us 6 weeks to announce the results. So let's attend to those things now. Namhla Kates.
Wow. I like the fact that I share the very same sentiments with Tendebit. Like I mentioned to you, I'm a firm believer of principles. I don't believe in cutting corners. But I can tell you now, I realize what ZANU-PF is trying to do. They're trying to resuscitate and save the entire party. So, but again, I don't like the fact that they want to always, like clash on the army. You know what I mean? Because what Tendai is saying is that we need to separate the army and politics. And he's right. And because ZANU-PF knows that they no longer have support, now they are trying to clash on the army again. What we are running away from is the army getting involved in politics. We don't want that. The army should be the army like what other armies are. Look at South African army. I've never heard them even care about what's happening with the politicians. But it's only in a Zimbabwean community where people always want to hide behind something. No, guys, if you don't have the votes, you don't have the votes. I am a firm believer that we need to get to a point where each and every political player sell their manifesto and their work across the country freely. Freely. Listen, Yao Enin, I pledge my life. I pledge to give you platform to speak about whatever you're going to do to the people of Zimbabwe. I don't have a problem with that. And the people of Zimbabwe will decide who they want to be led by. Not forcing, imposing, and no, we don't want that. We don't want to be imposed of any leader. We should choose our own leader. Let's go back to basics. I share the same sentiments with Tendai. He's right. Let's go back to the drawing board. Because that's the only way that we can save Zimbabwe. If you want this country to restart and really move forward on a planned trajectory, let's go back to square zero. Having a free, fair, credible election that precedes reforms, robust reforms. I mean, show me a person who doesn't want us to have reforms. Because now we're going to ask you why you don't want reforms. Because you're the problem. Anyone who do not want us to have reforms in Zimbabwe is the cancer that we do not want to see anywhere near politics. We should have reforms and revamp our country moving forward. Quite very interesting, but like I said to you, Mnangagwa is surrounded. He is surrounded because right now, like I mentioned, they want his legacy to be a shameless legacy. But I must say, I must say there were reports, I think about 2 or 3 months ago, where the Standard said that there's so many people who are committing crime in Zimbabwe across the country using Mnangagwa's name. They're committing crimes, but again, I don't blame them. It's because he's the one who created a culture of bootlicking. You bootlick me, then you find your way out. So then people are going to do anything to capitalize on that chance. Why can't you stop the bootlicking culture and let people do the right thing and the country can move forward? Because as we speak, his son-in-law Mnangagwa is being robbed into the chief's death, mysterious death. A chief, that's beautiful young boy. I'm a person who believes in the goals and the dreams and the of young people. And when this chief was anointed, when he was only 18 years after the death of his daddy, I was like, this is what we're talking about. Give young people a chance. But let me tell you, hell has fallen in Rwanda. The death of this chief is causing a lot of problems in the country because the family is saying, who took our son to Harare for treatment? Because behind the death of this young chief, Mnangagwa's family is being robbed in there, that they may have committed a foul play and eliminated the chief. This is quite a very sad. Again, when you are known for always eliminating to find your way, even if you haven't done something, people always will think that you did it. Because this story is very much heartbreaking, but I'm going to read it for you to understand what I'm trying to say here. So Chief Marups, that is his name, death in Harare on Sunday has triggered a feud between his family and the local councillor who drove him to the capital, allegedly without their knowledge. The 28-year-old chief from Divila Shaba in Rwanda South, real name Oaleng Nare, died at Health Point Hospital in Harare after being admitted while complaining of a tummy ache and vomiting. That sounds like food poisoning for me. His death came just 2 weeks after armed robbers raided his rural home and stole his official Isuzu, a vehicle. He was unharmed in that incident, but his family now fears the robbery and his death so soon after are connected. The family's ferry has been directed at Mushambisha Ngube, the local ZANU-PF councillor. Bear in mind, ZANU-PF for Swai Court. Just borders ZANU-PF council, and ZANU-PF councillors are known for being brutal and also using heavy machinations or tactics that is being used by the regime to either get their way into anything that they want. And the chairman of the Rwanda Rural District Council, who was the last person to see the chief alive after driving him to capital, supposedly to seek medical treatment. The family wonders why treatment could not be found at hospitals in Bulawayo. That's also very strange, in my opinion. Molisa Nare, a local headman and a relative of the late chief, said, we are still in a state of confusion about his death because before he is taken to Harare, he was complaining of a headache. Now we are being told in Harare that he has an upset stomach again. The whole thing is difficult to understand. We hope the postmortem will shed some light. Do you think so? Angelina Marups Moyo, the late chief's aunt, said Chief Marups' trip to Harare was shrouded in mystery. She told the local community radio station Nepe Namana FM, his departure from home for Harare is something we are still trying to understand. Another thing is that we knew him to be having a headache, and the new narrative from the hospital that he was vomiting and had a running tummy is to the confusion. We are in pain over what has befallen us. Ngube told ZimLive that he would have something to say only after the burial. I'm sorry for now, I'm not in a position to comment. I will comment after the burial, he said. The chief's body was expected to leave Harare on Friday, with burial likely on Sunday, family spokesperson Chris Murubi said. A family source says to ZimLive that they were also curious over the role of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, his son-in-law, the lawyer General Molocha, in the chief's trip to Harare. The source said, we understand he paid everything. Remember, the son-in-law from Mnangagwa paid for everything, including the hospital bill. The question is why Molocha is reported to have met the chief several times in recent months while seeking his signature in his bid to take over the safari section of the 55,000 hectare Dodibem range, which in the chief's Marups jurisdiction. You hear that? Cecilia Bebe, the owner of Motamai currently holds the lease for the ranch. Questions left to the Mlochwa has not been answered. Very interesting here, because I would want to read again. We understand he paid everything. That's Mnangagwa's family is paying for everything for this chief. The chief was complaining of headache, and he was transferred to Harare without the family's knowledge. Then upon visiting in Harare, but he was already dead then, they are hearing from the doctors that this guy was suffering from a running tummy. Right, that sounds like food poisoning. But behind all these shenanigans, there was a deal that Mnangagwa's family had interest in the 55,000 hectares. Yo, when he took off 55,000 hectares, being someone who does property, I once had a client that was selling 20,000 hectares. That was in Bradau because it's a farming area. You know, it was a Zambian diplomat here that had passed. So his wife could not afford to pay all the bills, so she had to sell the property for her to go back to Zambia, right? And I'm trying to understand 55,000 hectares. That sounds like a massive land. Mnangagwa's family had interest in it. But because the chief did not want to sign for the land, right? The chief, a young chief, faithful to the cause, he didn't want to sign the land to Mnangagwa's son-in-law, right? And what happened to the chief? The chief was eliminated. Now we are following on the story to see what will happen after that. Because should this land be signed to Mnangagwa's family, then another trio on Mnangagwa's legacy, the 55,000 land. There's just something wrong with this family when it comes to things, the love of things, more than the love of the people, more than the love of success. And you know, guys, success of a person is not built on the love of things. It's built on the input. What are you doing to achieve what you want to do? Satisfaction does not come from taking what you never worked for. It comes from working for something and you get rewarded for the work that you have done. But the reason why we are having problem in Zimbabwe is because we have a culture of just taking. People just want to take. Everyone wants to take, and they've never put no effort. They want to take over this country to be theirs. Maybe they can feel that, no, the time is running short. So if we will put this land into our name. But listen, I've heard some people say, no, but if they can turn these lands into their, if they can have title deeds for the land, they may get away with it. I don't think so. Because every system in the country is being managed by the people. It was created by the people. It's managed by the people. Remember, in the Smith regime, they also had titles. But what happened afterwards? This is to say to Zimbabweans who are getting away with murder, who are taking what they never worked for, they will suffer the consequences of losing everything. All right, time will deal with that. But this story is quite very sad. So Chief Marups, one of the youngest traditional leaders in the country, at the time of his death was receptive to advice and humble. Listen, he was a young guy. According to stand-in-chief of the nearby Garanyemba chieftains, Jeffrey Mutlamba, he prioritized traditional cultural practices as his role demanded. As the people of Rwanda, we all have been robbed of a good man who had no quarrel with anyone. He's a young man that they've taken his life because of 55,000 hectares of land. Greedy. Again, it's befalling on Mnangagwa's legacy. That's all I'm going to say. Honestly, Tenda is right. Tenda is right. His children, the family has robbed Mnangagwa's name into the bin. But again, I'm a firm believer that, you know, the children can only behave the way that they were taught, right? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, they said "Mwana inyoka," right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Yes. That's the purpose of having parents, is for parents to mold and teach and train. But once children begin to behave berserk, like what we see in the country right now, it's just a sign that the parents, because the mothers also say, we see it going around the country, but you know, becoming all manner of things. You know, it's all drama, man. It's the family that is a problem. It's a family. And by the way, I don't hate this family. I think I'm a lover of people, but I'm looking at their works. It's the way they behave that is very wild. That is just so that is really sad to watch. It's very sad to watch because I'm a firm believer that when you're holding such positions, there is etiquette that comes with it. If you ever met president's kids, you know what I'm talking about. There's etiquette, there's classy. The Mugabe kids were wild when it comes to champagne and women. You remember the story when the mother beat that woman with the cable, electrical cable. This country is full of drama. You remember Grace Mugabe? The worst story I don't want to talk about, because what this story reminds me, it reminds me of the young lady that was actually assaulted by Grace, that was assaulted with a cable, right? She was offered a blank check. Mugabe's family offered a blank check, which means if she could have if she wrote $1 million, because these people are billionaires, she was going to walk away with $1 million US. But AfriForum, those wise people, they were saying that no, we want her to be arrested. Okay, she'll be arrested when she's holding a diplomatic passport. She's a president's wife, to cry out loud. So she's kept the entire saga. And the young girl walked with nothing. That story makes my heart bleeds. Yo, if I was me, I would have done like even $10 million. I can go and say, I can go to America and say, put a surgeon. You can gravitate my face and make sure I get my face back. How? They're all full of drama. Because you know what? They don't believe in work, they believe in taking. That's why they're full of drama. Because even they were working, all these shenanigans we are hearing, we won't even be hearing them. Check everyone who's doing the work. They don't have time for drama. But yeah, now 55,000 hectares has costed a young, promising, beautiful chief. I can say that because even my brother also is a chief, is young. So I know what I'm talking about. He's young. Because my parents were like, no. We give you that. You're going to be the chief. In our family, we don't care about positions. We're very much of saying we promote young people to do the right thing. So I know, I can only imagine if it's my brother, I would lose my mind. Like, I'll lose my mind. I can turn the whole country upside down, I would do that. And may his soul of these young men rest in peace. So I'm going to ask you guys, more than nearly 250, 300 people here, please like the live push algorithm before you leave, because we're going to move into the next story. All right, so I heard there's a pastor that is trending. He's an incredible man. I listen to him all the time. His name is Jordan. I think he's a doctor, actually. If you've seen him on Instagram or TikTok, he's an incredible guy. He teaches mainly about family life in general, life in general. He's an incredible teacher, He said something that was so fabulous that I wanted you guys to actually listen to, and I'll tell you what I think about that story. He was talking about that if you're not mature to be able to provide for a family, then don't get married. I mean, he's preaching to a single person like I, and he also said that if you don't want to be asked questions like where are you, how far are you gonna be home, then don't get married. You're not a candidate for marriage. But when I was listening to him, there was something that actually literally touched me, because I was like, there's actually something so wrong, in our culture, because we seem to be more centered on the things. So if a man can fill in the fridge, he can pay the school fees for the kids, then he has done well. Listen, that's not enough, okay? That's not enough, brothers, and I tell you, it's not enough, because I will tell you why I say so. I can also fill in the fridge if I want to work and do so. I can pay the school fees. I've been doing that, to different people, by the grace of God. I can also still be able to pay certain bills. So for that reason, that is not making me a wife, okay? Because anyone can do it. But what makes me a wife is if I leave my father's house and marry someone. I'm not married because I can't fill in the fridge. I'm not married because I can't pay the bills. No, I'm married because I want to have a relationship. It's companionship. Right? So we need to start understanding that when you are marrying someone, you're not marrying to all these of a woman saving you and being submissive to you is great. Okay? All these buying things and make sure you pay the bills is great. Trust me, all those things are honorable. But that's not the primary thing. When you're marrying someone, the primary thing is relationship, is companionship. So if you're married to someone and you're not always available, you're not a married person. You're joking. You're playing games. You're not serious, right? You must understand that your responsibility are bigger than simply just buying groceries, and feeding the kids and paying the school fees. And they're bigger than that. We need you home on time. We need you to sit around the table with the kids. We need you to speak life. We need you to be a model, a role model. If you're a wife, your children, your daughters are looking up to you. Even men as well. Your daughters, for them to know how to choose a good husband, they look at daddy. They look at daddy, right? They look at daddy. So for boys to choose the kind of woman they want to marry, they look at mommy. That's why most of the times men will always look around and look for their mother, because they know that's all they saw, right? So I have my nephew. Okay, I'm going to tell you that one is, may God bless my nephew. He's only 4 years old. Okay, trust me, that man, he gives me a run around. Okay, he's my nephew. So I know that every week I've got a date with him. So I have a date with my nephew. We gallivant, but there's a specific place that we go. This specific place is very special to my nephew. It's a candy shop. A candy shop. Okay. I remember this day. Okay, I forgot that the candy shop closes at 4. So I went there late, and we got there around 4:15, and the candy shop was closed. And this beautiful nephew of mine looked at the candy shop, and I could see that his countenance changed. He just looked very sad. And I said to him, okay, let me take you to the game place. Let's go to the game place. I said, okay, let's go. We went to the game place. As we get to that game place, he doesn't like noise. He's a chilled boy. He doesn't like noise. You know, the game place, he was like, Andy, I don't like to be here. Let's go back home. Okay, I said, okay, let's go back home. Unfortunately, we were supposed to pass through the very same candy shop. So as we are passing through the candy shop, I saw my nephew went back to the candy shop and he began to bang the door. You know, like he's pushing the door. I'm like, oh, don't, baby. They've closed. This boy was angry. He was angry, and I took him to the car. Yo, like he was also pulling my hair. I'm phoning the father, I'm phoning the mother, and I put them on a video call. Talk to your child. They could not help him. I even asked another man there. I said, excuse me, sir, can you please talk to my child? Maybe he can be afraid of you as a man. This man was like, boy, please. He did not care. He was angry because we didn't get the candy. But there's something that I realized lately, that he's becoming to pick up some of my characteristics. So he laughs a lot. And he tells his mom, he's like, no, Andy's mine. You know, Andy's mine. And he knows the color of my car. He's like, no. Andy's mine. The car is also mine. You know, so he laughs me a lot. I'm here to tell you, there's so much power in spending time with your children. Spending time with your wife is spending time with the people that you love. The streets are brutal. The streets are lying. The streets are fake. What's more important is the trademark that you leave within the family. So brothers and sisters, there is so much residue in building a united, successful, loving family. Please, let's go back. I'm going to speak like Mother Teresa, who said, if you want to change the world, to be a great man in the world, a great woman in the world, you're going to go back home and love your family. That's leadership. If you want to make a better Zimbabwe, it will start by how we are going to love each other and promote the growth of family. And it will automatically transcend into a great society. And on its own, a very reputable country. That's why I'm saying to Mr. Mnangagwa, you failed. You failed, you say, by allowing your children to replicate what you've been doing. Now look, your family members are being dragged into Rwanda, from Harare, you are from Mashingo, you are in Harare, most of your people in Mashingo, then you also have friends in Manikal, and I think all manner of things, but now you're now being robbed in Rwanda. You're all over the place. It's time we restore love. It's time we restore dignity in the country. I think for me, what I can say to President Mnangagwa, by the way, I would say Emerson, because your people also say Emerson. I mean, like, it's not me. I heard you people say 2013 they are Emerson. I'm like, oh wow, I thought the last time he's a president, but now he's being called by his name. So yeah, I'm just gonna say, sir, you know, respectfully, sir, please, your children, you can stop them. They are your babies. You can stop them. And their friends, this criminal cartel, these Chinese people are looting our resources. The Zimbabwean guys that are connected to the criminal cartel, all these shenanigans with the currency that are also, you know, just manipulating currency so that they can benefit from it. You can stop it. You can put a stop to it. And that's all I have for you this afternoon, guys. Spread the fire of love everywhere you go. Don't forget to like the live and also push algorithm. Share the video with everyone else. You can see Mnangagwa is losing the grip. Chiwenga is trending because it's all over the country. They are trying to resuscitate ZANU-PF. Remember, because they know that the Zimbabwean people no longer want anything to do with this party. But they can only do it by trying to rope the arm in. But we must be very careful and we must have conversation. I don't think there's anything wrong for them to resuscitate the party, seriously. I think at the end of the day, anyone can do whatever they want. But what's more important is really how we can build a country that is built on a platform of respect and honor. And also respect of everyone, notwithstanding who your father is or where you come from, but who you are because you're human, right? All right. So I love you guys. Tell me what you think in the comment section of all that you have heard today. I'll see you later on in the evening. I love you. God bless you. And God bless Zimbabwe. Bye for now.